So our next speaker is Stogner. Uh, he serves in executive positions in several corporations that drive improved business performance using technologies that include business innovation, digital transformation, project management, IoT, and artificial intelligence. Among his many roles, he used to be on the IEEE board of directors and the Region 3 director. And he is currently serving as the chair of our IEEE Association for Digital Transformation, and also the IEEE chair of the IEEE P2023 Digital Transformation Working Group. Lee, the floor is yours. Are you ready?
Yes, I am. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Very good. And I guess you can also hear me. Wonderful. First, let me apologize real quick. All those things happen when you rush to get things going. And I came in at 10 till the start, couldn't log in. So Ralph Ma and I spent an anxious few minutes trying to fix things. It never worked. And then all of a sudden it just started. So take my apologies and let's get started. Welcome to the World Digital Transformation Conference. I'm going to be doing the introductions as well as a digital transformation overview. And like Yuan just mentioned, I'm the managing partner of a consulting group called the Winkler Group. We do management consulting and digital transformation, sustainability, and other related issues that the digital transformation world enables. So with that, let's get into the presentation. And I'm counting on Ralph to tell me when to stop. See, it's 10 after 10. So first off, today's agenda. Yuan just jumped in. Thank you, for giving me time to fix problems. We're going to have a number of speakers talk about various aspects of digital transformation and how each one as a technology vertical supports the rest. So Yuan just did the metaverse. Tom Coughlin will be talking about the memory of artificial intelligence and how it relates to digital transformation. Roberto Sirocco will talk about digital twins and their role in the digital transformation. Ray Sheen will talk about digitization, its strategy roadmap, and then lastly, Alex Lee will host a panel where we talk about metaverse as a super accelerator of digital transformation. So, starting point, I always like to have the means to communicate with my peers and other people around the world. So let's have a common definition for digital transformation. And I'll read it just to make sure you hear it the way it's intended. Digital transformation is the adoption of digital technology to transform services or businesses through replacement non-digital or manual processes with digital processes, or replacing older digital technology. And I'm old enough to be around where we were just absolutely excited when we could connect two boxes together, just connect them. And that was in the late 70s. And digital transformation is providing the means and the ways to connect not only boxes, but boxes worldwide, and then layer applications on top of it. And this particular definition came from Wikipedia, which I think is a pretty good definition. Starting points. Lots of things are happening from a timing standpoint. The fourth industrial revolution has begun, and that is a grand aggregation of technology and people and training, experience, and then lastly, the right applications at the right time. Business sees the economies of all of this, and they're going connected and fast-paced. And it's important to understand the people aspects as we learn through the world of Lean Six Sigma and other business improvement strategies and methodologies. You can't just rush in and install a bunch of new computers and then tell the big boss, hey, we've done our job, turn on all the benefits. You can't do that, because when you do that, you leave out the people. They see the big boxes rolling down the hall, and they see their jobs rolling out the big hall. So people first, training, culture, and then the technology of digital transformation, metaverse, big data, and all the rest. So lastly, I like the Arthur C. Clarke quote, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. I see a lot of magic in what we're doing right now. So let's orientate all of this together. You know, some years back, as we improved the networking that I experienced back in the late 70s, to the point where boxes and applications were talking in a serious way, we said, well, let's give it a name. That name is the Internet of Things, and it provides that magic, if you will, foundation for all these things that are working together and allowing us to talk and exchange information and make those applications get synchronized and beneficial to the improvement of society, industry, and the things that we wake up tomorrow morning and say, let's go try that. So if you look at our progress from industry one, just having mechanical things replace the hands of humans and give us efficiencies and repeatability. You had things like mechanical looms back in the 1700s, and then forward ahead a bit, we introduced a division of labor and mass production with something called electricity. And if you look at the world of climate change, we're doing it again. We're trying to replace all energy and replace it with the things you can do with electricity. Thirdly, the industrial revolution. We brought in our programmable controllers, our microprocessors, where our mini computers, and allowed them to collect information up and down the process stream to know what's happening all around a particular machine or process center, and synchronize and make sure that production schedules we established early in the morning, we can actually make things happen and at a quality level that the customer will pay money for. And then lastly, the fourth industrial revolution. We are knee deep in that right now, in which we are combining AI, mass production, smart sensors, everything together to give the machine, the process, the plant, the group of plants, the integrated knowledge and coordination to do big things such as produce parts anywhere in the world, and then bring together those parts, lastly, into assembly plants and build things that we all want to buy, which is cars and other things like that. So here's where we are. There's some people say we're about to go into the fifth industrial revolution. I think they're right, but let's make maximum impact from what we're in right now. We've had different ways of applying labor and automation to the making of things. And in and around that, we've got things like Lean, Six Sigma, becoming Scrum experts. All these things require people, teams, relationships, innovation in the front end to drive the development of new ideas into things that we can refine and build. And all around it, the procedures that allow things to be done together all over the world. And then lastly, that equals project success as we get everything to work correctly together. Pathways to digital transformation. If you go from the left of the screen to the right, again, we're identifying how to make sure people are used to the maximum. That's good for them. It's good for the facility and the goals of the plant. That the processes are synchronized such that you develop, pilot, test, scale, integrate, and then cross over to make sure we're doing the right things at the right time, and then learning from what we just did to make sure that we do it better the next time. The next time could be after lunch, tomorrow morning, or we restart this particular product to make more of it. And then lastly, make sure we're using the appropriate systems and human architecture such that we coordinate efficiently and maximize what we can do. Together is the magic word. So what are the drivers for digital? Certainly productivity increases, connected work, mass adoption of mobile devices where you can collect information in real time down at the spot where work is taking place. Job descriptions are going to change as we become more efficient, and the organization is able to do more together at a higher rate of quality and at a practical cost. We're pushing our data and apps to the cloud. We now have machines that span the world through the networks and the ability to use this information. We call them enterprise apps. You'll see more of that in a few slides. And in the cloud, a lot more people can share the information. A lot more people can provide their input and their value into those applications that run up in this, I'll use the word again, magic cloud. Edge computing, smart machines, the autonomous vehicles that are always 5 years out. Data standards. If we're going to design something, say, in Beijing and produce part of it in South Carolina where I live, or Munich where other folks live, we've got to have standards such that we measure things together, both at the standpoint of the design drawing and also from the standpoint of you have to measure to determine did we do it correctly. Standards give us that language and those references to make sure we're doing the right things at the right time. And then lastly, we could have put this at the very beginning of this list, the workforce. We've got to make sure we're doing the right thing by our people, because they're the entity that give value to everything that we do. So here we've got sort of a demo that you can sort of visualize in your mind. Way back when, visualize that travel took weeks by horse and days by train and the telephone to move things along faster. And now something called Zoom that we're using right now, not always perfectly. Remember, I came in a half hour late, and all this works to improve the idea, the design, and the means for producing product and services. Manufacturing, way back when, I guess the Henry Ford example works for most people. We were doing a lot of things on an assembly line such that we could produce more and with a measurable repeatability and quality. Now, sometimes on that Henry Ford production line, people were using hammers to make sure that part was okay, and the rough edges were beaten out of it, but things got faster. And we did it through the standards. We do it through 3D printing. We do it through laser scanning in the means to know what we just did mechanically, chemically, or just simply what we have to do at one step is what the next step is expecting. So we'll plug into whatever they're doing to add additional value. And then lastly, in our demo, local doctors used to be the only way for immediate care. And now a doctor can visit anywhere in the world, see what the situation is, and even provide surgery. I hope this saves more people and brings the cost of medical care down further and further. So before we can process and promise everything that we're telling management and our customers, we have to have a methodology that says what I do today, I can repeat tomorrow, using all the metrics that we're talking about right now to design repeatability into the process. Number one is the cultural change. Number two is we've got to make it financially possible such that we can take the risk, not only for the company, but for you and I as engineers or production managers that need to work on what we are promised along with folks elsewhere in the company or no matter where. And then the owners need to take the lead. This is a busy screen. I don't expect you to be able to read it. You might see some of it, but this is a project delivery methodology that if we do all these things in the right order and to the detail you see, we're going to produce product or that service the way we are promising the customer at the price and also the delivery time frame that makes all this possible. So from left to right, we have to assess the opportunities. We have to define what it is we're trying to do. Then we design the product or service. Then we develop how we're going to make it and what the supply chain might give us in a daily fashion. The next to last is integration. What I do needs to synchronize with what you're doing. And then lastly, feedback. Make sure what we're learning goes all the way back as many steps to the left as we need to make sure we're learning from what we just did and the process and the product is continually improved. Digital transformation industry. If you want to be an entrepreneur, this is a great place to visit and learn from. Most of these companies that you see in front of you on the screen did not exist 5 years ago. 10 years ago, they were just an idea in someone who was going to school's mind, or someone who worked for a company and you always told yourself, we can do this better. So digital transformation and the industry that it continues to spawn is a great place to be if you're an entrepreneur or if you want to do things simply better at a value and a price that the world will come to your door and buy from you. Given that the audience for this particular session is mostly Asia, these companies were born and grown in your neighborhood, down the street, or in the country next door. This is impacting the way you live, the rewards you can bring home to your family. This is where it's happening. So these kinds of companies are very smart in terms of the world of digital transformation. You might want to consider working for one or create something that can provide a service or product to these customers. Okay, I mentioned the word enterprise earlier in my 30 minutes. And these are things that happen. The information is collected from all over a corporation, and the corporation locations can be anywhere in the world, and uploaded to this magic cloud in the sky, and then the information is put into the proper place in the database, and then the algorithms understand what's going on left to right as the company does its daily job on a schedule to a quality level that allows them to exist and continue to grow. A different view of the enterprise. This is a bit more visual in that you can see process centers, you can see production lines, you can see people all working together. And I like to use the left to right flow of things. And here's steps in the company as they make things, as they provide information, as they do things to provide the expertise or the work that the customer is expecting. So Yuan talked about the IEEE. I'm a longtime member. I've been on the big board. Yuan is now on the big board, and it's a nice organization to be a part of, to learn from, and also help it grow in various ways. So right now, IEEE is very involved in digital transformation at several levels: training, conferences, publications, conferences, workshops, webinars like we're on right now. And we're looking for even newer ways to train and connect with a base of members worldwide. We've got about 400,000 members. A number of them are involved in the two magic words of digital transformation. We're doing standards. The standard that we're working on right now that I'm the chair of, P2023, we call it a collection of frameworks that are going to allow different people and what they're doing to work better together as we use the digital transformation umbrella over all this, if you will, applications below that umbrella, and then a foundation of IoT. And we're trying to drive integration with other organizations. Here's a screen from the website for P2023. It's a group of people. We meet within committees. We meet monthly as a bigger committee and doing the work that's going to take our ideas, put it on electronic paper. So in another year or so, we'll have this standard that will be a living document to help people do things under the philosophy of a standard to the detail that we're creating with P2023. Now, if you can, there's a line not quite at the bottom of the screen where it talks about some of the various chapters that are being created and put into this standard. I'll read them for you, left to right. Artificial intelligence, augmented and virtual reality, blockchain and DLT, cloud computing, connectivity and telecom, IoT, manufacturing, mobility, networking, internet, and I'm sure more things will come up in the days ahead, such as edge computing, digital twin that you'll hear from Roberto on. This is a living, growing document, and we want to make sure it's a useful document that people can use to organize and understand the work ahead. We are creating an association. IEEE standards give us the authority to create the IEEE Association of Digital Transformation. It will be member-based. You'll see a lot more on this towards the beginning of summer, and it gives us a place to go work together to focus on training, lots and lots of implementation, and those applications that take what we're doing up a level such that we have the tools, the software, and the inherent procedures and application knowledge to make all this work together anywhere in the world. We are either identifying or about to create practical tools, resources, and that magic word called methodology. Conferences, workshops, publications. Yes, yes, yes. Industry involvement. Academics can't do this by themselves and then throw what they've done over the wall. We need from day one involvement by industry. The companies you saw on the charts a couple of slides back, they're at the table with us right now to help us decide what we just did is correct and to lay the groundwork for the next step and the steps after that, and to make sure we can do it anywhere in the world. What we're doing has to be international in scope. Thanks to Roberto and his team, a book was created back in November 2020. You can download it. As you get a copy of these slides, you can cut and paste and download a copy of this document. It's several hundred pages. It's a lexicon of words and definitions of how we need to talk and communicate all about digital transformation. Thank you, Roberto. We have publications. If you are aware of a platform called Flipboard, I collect daily articles and other information that have been created, and I put it into this online magazine. You can view it through your PC, your Mac, your iPads, your mobile devices, and I think you'll find it informative and timely, such that this won't be a once a day or a once a month application to go find out what's going on and who the players are. You'll check it out often. So digital transformation by IEEE. Now, under the umbrella of digital transformation, there's various applications that we mentioned, again, a slide or two back. One is IoT. This is another Flipboard magazine that gets into the detail of what's happening in IoT. Please read all about it. Tell us what we can do better. IEEE blockchain. This is sometimes a mysterious application, but it's starting to do a lot of work, and it's giving people the way of coordinating a lot of activities in the right order with secrecy of and privacy where required, but also quality in the sheer amounts of information that can be transferred along as you design things, you buy things, you ship things, you make things, and you use things. It could be a product, it could be a service. Blockchain has a tremendous application around the world. Here's the dashboard. You can go to flipboard.com/@Stogner. That's me. And here are the main technology verticals that come under the digital transformation umbrella. All of these things you need to keep an awareness of, and then dig into one or two for information for whatever you're doing in the world of digital transformation. Questions? We are looking for volunteers. We're at the point where, as we create the standard P2023, we're going to need more than simply the people that created the words. We need people to help us review. We need people to help us understand, did we miss something? We need people to help us understand, are there applications beyond what we conceived of at the beginning of this development that with a little tweak here and there can be applicable to more and more things and activities around the world. So there's my address. Please write this down. Yuan and Ralph will be providing electronic copies of all this, so you can learn more about the standard and how to stay in touch with us and make sure that you can help us, because this is quickly going to ramp up and require more and more people. And with that, Ralph and Yuan, the next person in the queue should be ready to take up where I'm finishing right now.